March 2nd, 1904. This will be the most difficult writing I have so far tried in English. I want to describe Purim. Purim is a happy holiday. It is a crazy holiday. We Jews are commanded to be happy on Purim. That is the main command. But be happy and be tired is what happens, for there is much to do, as you will soon see. Purim is told about in the book of Esther. Esther was the queen of Persia. She was married to King Ahasuerus. He did not know she was Jewish. But then something terrible happens. His evil minister, Haman, tells him all the Jews must be killed, but Mordecai, who is Esther's cousin, finds out. He goes to Esther and says, "You must tell the king finally that you are a Jew, and if he kills all the Jews, you will be dead too. No more hiding that you are Jewish." So she does, and the king is very surprised, but he loves his wife, and now knows how evil Haman is, and the Jews are saved. So that is the story. We celebrate the holiday in many ways, and one way is by sending gifts to people in need. So all night before Purim, Mama and Tova and Miriam and I bake Hamantaschen cookies stuffed with dried fruits. The cookies are folded into a triangle shape, the shape of Haman's hat. Mama with sugar and water and cinnamon and lemon juice makes sour ball candies too, and dates stuffed with nuts. We make this food to take to the wolves, for they are one of the needy families we know. Mama says she wishes she could rent a sewing machine for Mrs. Wolf, but she can't. We also take cookies and bread to the Sheehans. This is my idea, because I always feel so sorry for Mrs. Sheehan. Mr. Sheehan is not very well. You can hear him coughing a lot through the walls at night, and because of this, he cannot keep a job. Mrs. Sheehan says thank you for the food. The old lady grumbles something, and I see her ugly yellow tooth. Okay, that is all I can write now. I have many more thoughts on Purim. I don't know if I shall be able to write it all in English, however. Later the same evening. I must finish about Purim in Yiddish, for I have many complicated thoughts, and we did so much. We got up very early the next morning, the first day of Purim, to get to the 6 o'clock service at the synagogue, when they read the Megillah, the book of Esther. Mama and Papa had a little tiff, so last night in bed I am thinking about the meaning of the story of Esther. I have so many thoughts I cannot sleep. I want to talk to someone. Miriam has sneaked out, so I say, "Tova, you awake?" No answer. So I ask her again. "I am now," she says, very grumpy. "What is it?" "Do you think Esther is like a German Jew?" "What are you talking about?" "I mean, she is sort of uptown, you know." "What?" I start to explain, but then I hear Tova snoring. I start thinking about Mama and Esther too. Mama is so frightened of losing her Jewishness. She would say a greenhorn forever if it meant she could be the same Jew she always has been. Wig firmly on head, observing every holiday just as she has since she was a little girl. I think about Mama's wigged head. Then I think about Queen Esther, who did not even admit to being a Jew, but look how she helped the Jews in the end. What a champ! So you can't always tell who is the faithful and who is not, despite their wigs and side locks. P.S. I forgot to tell you, Miriam and Mandy and Tova and me and Mamie and Boris all dressed up in costumes for the celebration at the synagogue. Masquerading is part of the holiday. We went as barnyard animals. No pigs, but cows and chickens and billy goats. Then after the synagogue party, they were going to go to a cafe near the Yiddish theaters for more celebration. And guess what? Mama let me go with them. I felt very grown up. I drank Viennese coffee with lots of whipped cream. March 9th, 1904. I am sorry it is so long since I wrote to you, but I am very busy with 4th grade, and now I go to Blue's often to help her with her schoolwork and show her what 4th graders do. She tries some of this work. It is hard for her. One thing we do that she likes is that we try to translate letters from the Bintel Brief column of the Jewish Daily Forward. They are very interesting. There was one today about a lady who came here from Russia to join her husband and found out that he had married another woman. We learned a new word, bigamist. It means married to more than one woman at a time. It is illegal. The man is now in jail. March 10th, 1904. We went to the Eden Theater today. I watched them rehearse a play with Sigmund Mogilesco called The Immigrant. It is wonderful. Mogilesco is a genius actor. Boris says if I come tomorrow after school, he will take me to another theater where he works, and I can see the world-famous actor Jacob Adler in a production of The Merchant of Venice by none other than William Shakespeare in Yiddish. I love it backstage. March 11th, 1904. I forgot to tell you that yesterday Boris said to me, "Well, Zippy, maybe some play that is coming up will need children and you can audition." I said, "From your mouth to God's ears, Boris." Now I can think of nothing else. I told Miriam last night in bed my secret dreams of wanting to be an actress. She squeezed my hand. It was a squeeze that seemed to say we both have secret dreams, mine the theater and hers love. Then she said, "What is it about this country that makes one dream such big dreams?" I yawned sleepily and said, "Yes." I knew what she meant, and look at Tova with her union dreams. There is something in the air here in America that does this to people. March 12th, 1904. I know I promised to write in English, but this is just too exciting, and I could never express it in English. I must be writing Yiddish now, or I shall pop from all my emotions. Guess what? I went with Boris to the other theater and stood near him in the wings and watched the great Adler rehearse the role of the Jew Shylock in The Merchant of Venice. "Well," the director said, "take 5. That means the actors get a rest period for 5 minutes. Anyway, Jacob Adler walks off the stage and he passes me. Then he pats the top of my head. Jacob Adler, the most famous Yiddish actor in the whole wide world, pats my head and then he says, 'My little bluebird,' because I have blue eyes, from my father. Then he says, 'They are very bright blue eyes. They shine out of the darkness of the wings all the way to the stage. I could see them.' Then he walks off. Can you believe it? I can't." March 14th, 1904. I found a picture of Jacob Adler in an old newspaper. It was right behind the pickle shop on Hester Street. It had pickle juice on it, but no matter. I took it home, cut it out, and put it right over the pictures of Madame Curie and the Wright brothers on the wall. March 15th, 1904. Sometimes Tova really surprises me. I think all she thinks about is her union and organizing the workers, and never really notices me. But today she brought me another picture of Jacob Adler that she found in a newspaper. I didn't even think she had noticed the picture I put up. "How can I not notice?" she said. "His picture is right over our bed." March 16th, 1904. I am in despair. A play came with parts for children. They needed village children to stone someone to death, so Boris took me over to the theater. And guess what? They say I am too tall. I said I'll shrink. I'll do anything. They don't know that I have a special way of walking. I really do. That makes me look shorter. Why do I have to be so tall? I have grown 3 inches since coming to America. If I keep up at this rate, I shall be 7 feet tall by the time I am Tova's age. March 31st, 1904. It is the first night of Pesach, and as always at the cedar table, we set the wine glass and leave open the door for Elijah, the prophet. But it is not Elijah who walks in. It is Uncle Shmuley, Tante Fruma's husband. He comes to America because he says that the Tsar is drafting men, even older men, into the army for the Russian war with Japan. So now he is here. He looks almost the same as I remember him from before Tante Fruma died. He has funny hair. Well, to tell the truth, he does not have that much hair. The top of his head is shiny bare. I forget the English word for no hair. But around the edges he has puffs of hair that look like smoke. He makes a joke about this. He says, "My head is in the clouds." Uncle Moshe is going to try and get him some work. I don't know where he is going to live. I wish he would live here. He is more fun and smells better than Reb Simcha. Oh well, I cannot complain. We are lucky, as Papa reminds us. For our last Passover together was 3 years before, and that was when there was a terrible pogrom, and the people from Zlinka came to our village, and the poor girl with the bandaged head. I still got both my ears. Who cares what Reb Simcha smells like? At least I got a nose to smell him, too. April 1st, 1904. It is the second night of Pesach, the second Seder. Uncle Shmuley and Uncle Moshe are here again. Uncle Shmuley is going to work in the shop where Uncle Moshe used to work before Brooks Brothers. Uncle Moshe brags a lot about the uptown swells that he makes fancy suits for at Brooks Brothers. I start to brag about Mama making clothes for Mrs. Meyer. She is a fancy uptown swell too, after all. But Papa makes a dark look. He says uptown swell German Jews are the worst because they don't speak Yiddish and they think all Russian Jews are dirty, and it is nothing to brag about. I feel bad. I don't like to upset Papa, but I don't think it's right for him to speak harsh to me. April 2nd, 1904. I am still upset about Papa talking that way to me. I am upset about many things. I make a list. Number 1, Papa speaking harshly. Number 2, being too tall to play a child in the play. Number 3, nobody paying attention to me much anymore. Mama is so busy with Mrs. Meyer's order. Miriam is so busy with Love and Sean O'Malley. Tova is busy with the unions. Yitzi is busy with his father's samples. Blue is busy with her mother's new baby. I feel alone and left out. Marie Curie never wrote me back. I wrote the Wright brothers, too. They never wrote back either, and now I am thinking seriously of flying again, because I think I never get a part in theater, so I wish they would write back. I have so many newspaper pictures on my wall of them. That's all. I am tired of writing in English. April 8th, 1904. Very good news! Yitzi's father has an order for over 200 ladies' and children's cloaks from his samples. Now Yitzi is running around looking for space where they can set up to make them, and he's going to need lots of help. I said to Yitzi maybe he would hire my father, and he says, I have better plans for your father. Guess what Yitzi's plans are? He wants Papa to be the boss of the shop, to do the hiring and organize the workload and get the bundles and distribute them. He says that his father is not organized, and that my father would be better at this. I think that this is very interesting, but I am not sure. I think my father might have to be convinced. April 11th, 1904. Convinced? Did I say convinced? We have never had such a fight in our family. It makes me tremble to think about it. I told Papa Yitzi's idea, and he said no and picked up his violin to start practicing before going to rehearsal for the next concert. Then Mama says, Why not, Yekel? It would make good money. Good money is Mama's code for no more boarder, no more Reb Simcha. I am all for that. So then we all start talking. I say it would be great, and Tova and Miriam agree. Suddenly, without warning, Papa stood up, turning red. Gripping the bow of the violin in his hands, he struck the air with it. You don't learn anything in a sweatshop except being a sweater. You think I came here to learn how to exploit, to be a boss? That is vile. Never, never. Suddenly I think that maybe Papa is the old-fashioned one and Mama the real Yankee. I think Mama would open a sweatshop in a minute. She is sort of running one now to do the work for Mrs. Meyer. I mean, she hires Blue's mother, and she says if she can get some more orders, she will rent a machine for Mrs. Wolfe. Oh, but the fight was so horrible. April 15th, 1904. Half an until until Licht-Benston. Guess what? Uncle Moshe and Uncle Shmuley are both going to work part-time for Yitzi's father. Uncle Shmuley is going to do the job Yitzi offered Papa. I feel so left out. Why can't Papa do this? Reb Simcha smells worse than ever. I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. And if Papa would take this job, we would not have to have Reb Simcha as a boarder. April 17th, 1904. You cannot imagine what has happened. It is so terrible, and I feel so guilty. I am tempted to go back and scratch out my last entry, but I cannot. I must live with this shame. Reb Simcha died last night. What can I do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Here is how it happened. He was sitting as he always does, on the little cot like a pile of, yes, old smelly rags. Mama had just bought him his glass of evening tea, as she always does, and a biscuit. All of a sudden, it was as if he had been hit by lightning. He made a quick movement. He became rigid, his eyes locked in fright wide open, and he fell sideways. Mama and I both ran to him. There were crumbs on his beard and a look of outrage in his eyes. I think he was looking right at me. Mama whispered, I think he is dead. We were home alone, as Papa was at rehearsal. Mamma sent me to the synagogue. 2 men came back with me. Mamma was in a daze. I was in a daze. The men were very businesslike. Soon Reb Simcha was gone from our apartment. It is all so strange. He had no relatives to sit Shiva, so we do now. The mirrors in our house are covered for the period of mourning. We sit on low stools and some boxes. Papa goes to work, but I miss school. Mamma said I didn't have to, but I have to. I know I did not cause Reb Simcha's death. I mean, I think I know that, but how could I have had such terrible thoughts about the poor old man right before he died? And all because he was a little bit smelly. I cannot even remember the smell now. It is gone, like Reb Simcha. Miriam told me that Sean told her that in the Catholic religion, one can go and confess their sins and ask forgiveness once a week. I wish Jews had that. I shall have to wait until Yom Kippur to be washed of this sin, if I can even then. Yom Kippur is 5 months away. Serves me right, I guess. April 21st, 1904. I went back to school today for the first time since Reb Simcha's death. Guess what? Blue has finally been promoted. She's in 4th grade. But guess what else? I have been promoted to 5th grade. So we're still not together. But Blue was so pleased and grateful to me for my help that she bought me a soda and a pickle after school. She says she will catch up with me before the end of school. We went back to her apartment and did what we most like to do to practice our English. We translate the letters in the Bintel brief. There was a good one today. A lady wrote in and said her husband does not like that she is going to night high school 2 days a week. He does not believe she has the right. The Bintel brief editor wrote back that this is America, and everyone has the right to an education, whether that person is a man or a woman. Blue and I say we shall never marry a man like that woman's husband. Of course, I think Blue maybe never will marry after her father goes and disappears. April 30th, 1904. Uncle Shmuley is our new boarder. He is fun. He does not seem so old, but he must be nearly 60, as Tante Fruma would be almost 60 if she were alive. Uncle Shmuley wants me to teach him English. He will pay me.